Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So they're back with a Varus updated complete guide for the latest patch, and this is going to be the first of two Varus updated complete guides. The other one will be releasing in 2 days time, because I think two of Varus builds are amazing on him right now. But before we talk about the build itself, of course don't forget to check out Varus's basic guide for his skills, leveling order, tips and tricks, as well as a couple of combos. But with that said, let's jump into the items, runes, and spells itself. So a little bit of a change from the last one, but let's take a look at what we have. So the build is pretty much completely the same as the last time I covered the Lethality Varus build. Now I think Lethality Varus is actually very strong, but the on-hit build is a lot more popular. We'll talk about that in 2 days time. So first up, the boots. Here we're actually going for boots of dynamism for the armor pen as well as the AD. Now you technically could go for other boots as well, like the Gluttonous Greaves. That also works, but I like going for the early lethality because our first item isn't a lethality item. So Essence Reaver as a first item, you take a while to get it, and during that time you're kind of weak. So I think that this boots of dynamism is actually just really good just to tide you over the early game. Then we go for Essence Reaver, which has a horrible build path, but when you get it, it's amazing because after you get it, you not only get the good stats, but you also get the Essence Flare passive, which is going to help you, help your abilities deal bonus damage, particularly, of course, useful for your Q. And you also have the Mana Siphon, which helps with your mana, and it does really make a difference because Varus is really mana hungry. And then you go into your triple lethality items. So you basically go for Youmuu's Ghostblade for the, of course, the high amount of armor pen, AD, and of course the extra attack speed when you proc the passive. We have Edge of Night, mainly for the spell shield, and we have Collector. Now, why are we going for a Collector when it's not that good of an item? Well, basically, it gives you okay stats. Of course, the passive is alright, but the main thing about this is it gives you both crit and armor pen. So why is this good? Because obviously armor pen is what we want, and crit is going to increase the damage of the Essence Reaver, because Essence Reaver's damage scales with crit. Furthermore, when you get your last item, will remind you're going to be at 75% crit. So even though this is kind of a mainly lethality build, it still has like 75% crit, assuming you build all of these items, which is pretty solid. And again, as I shown here, Maul Reminder is our last item for Armor Pen and Grievous Wounds. Now the only real change is when you're into shielding, you want to get Serpent's Fang for some anti-shield. Now normally I get this in the third item slot, because I want Essence Reaver for the early damage, and Youmuu's Ghostblade is just a really good lethality item. And the shields normally only start to stack up when you get to your third item, and it's really crucial to have the anti-shield. So I get it here, and normally at this point I generally will go for Edge of Night next, because I think Edge of Night with the spell shield is really important compared to just getting more damage and more crit. So that generally I go for that sort of setup. So for the runes, we actually are going to go for Phase Rush. So Phase Rush is actually seems to be like not a very good rune because it doesn't really give any damage, but in reality the movement speed that it gives is really good just for just moving around the fight, whether you want to go in or out. And the cooldown is actually amazing. Just getting your cooldowns back more quickly is just basically just absolutely amazing. I didn't rate it very highly, but when I actually played it, I actually felt that Phase Rush is really good on Varus. However, I will say that Phase Rush is not a very easy rune to use, because you have to know when to proc it, because it doesn't really give you any real combat stats. So it does take some time to get used to. If you're a little bit more inexperienced, something like a First Strike or a Comet is going to be a little bit better, most likely. But when you get more experience, Phase Rush is definitely the way to go. So for the minor runes, of course, you can see here, we have Brutal, of course, because you auto attack still quite a bit because you're still an ADC. And you have to put on the Blight stacks. We still have Giant Slayer, even though Coup de Grace just got nerfed, got buffed, sorry, but because I think Giant Slayer is just really good. And here I have the Bloodline, because there's completely no healing in our build at all, so we really just need Bloodline for the healing. And here I like to take Transcendence. Now there's an alternative path where some people like to take this tree instead, so I like to go for like Nimbus Cloak, Transcendence, and over here most likely Sweet Tooth, since Hexflash has been nerfed, but Hexflash is also an option. And here you can take Giant Slayer, so you can swap things around if you want. And for the spells, generally it's Flash together with Ghost, but Exhaust is also very viable if there are multiple assassins, because with this build, Ghost does help, but Exhaust is better if there are assassins, because you don't really need to kite as much as if you're building on hit, where you have to auto attack constantly. This one you can sort of just run away, charge a Q, and just launch it over. So with all that said, now let's just hop straight into the gameplay itself. Okay, so now we're moving on to the gameplay section of the video. Now, of course, as usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll, of course, be sure to address them. And alright, so let's just jump straight into it. as we start charging our phone as well. Anyways, personally, I think that Varus is the best ADC in the meta at the moment. I know I haven't released a tier list in quite a bit, but I will be working on one that will come out, pretty soon. And yeah, I think that Varus is the best ADC in the meta right now. He can build AP, he can build Lethality, he can build on hit, and he can build a mixture of these three as well. So partial here, partial there. All of which are really good. I just think Varus got buffed way too many times, and I'm not sure why he's gotten buffed this many times, and no one's really done anything about it. But yeah, Varus is really, really strong, and yeah, I find myself picking Varus very often. Of course, his main weakness is the lack of mobility, but he works well against tanks, he works well against squishies. Really good range, has utility with that CC on his ultimate, and even has anti-heal on his E as well. So overall, just a really solid kit. And of course, now that it's strong, it's just just really good overall. So Varus, pretty decent in the laning phase, not very reliant on his support, whether be it Engage or Enchanter. If you're building on hit Varus, probably having an Enchanter is better, but in this case we're building Lethality Varus, so having an Enchanter or an Engager doesn't really matter all that much. Probably an Engager would be better if I had to choose, because they can set you up for landing your ult and landing all your follow-up arrows and such. But in reality, the Varus is not very reliant on his support, at least when you build Lethality. So now jumping back into it, we're just gonna grab the fruit. We're gonna go ahead and continue to CS the minions. We're against a Vayne and a Karma. Now Vayne, of course, is not really a very strong laning champion, but Karma is, so it's sort of a little bit of a mismatch on the enemy team side. But so we are probably stronger because Varus has good poke, Nami has good poke as well, and we're only against a Karma who really has pressure. Vayne doesn't really have very much pressure at all. Horrible range on Vayne, so essentially we should have lane control at all times, which means that of course we can get priority and rotate if we need to. We can also fight them and zone them off the minions if we need to. We can try at least, because if we try to do that too much, Karma is going to be landing her poke on us, and of course we don't want to take too much poke from Karma itself. So we do have to be a little bit cautious of that. Okay, so now, again, it's not a very interesting laning phases. Obviously, they don't really want to go in on us, and we haven't been able to go in on them as well. So here is finally where we are able to go in on them. Viego goes in for the dive. Makes a mistake by picking up Vayne's body, because it causes him to tank an extra Tara shot and die. If he just walked out, he would have been fine here. We briefly get vision of Aatrox coming over, so we know we gotta kind of back off a little bit. We can see Aatrox running all the way here. He actually flashes here. Nami gets the wave. I proc the phase rush here and actually runs all the way away, as well as popping the ghost at the same time. So insane movement speed from that rune and summoner combo. So just run all the way back to Tara and we're completely safe. Now Akali is coming from the rotation on mid. Completely ignores her wave though, because Ahri is just pushed in a huge wave. And Akali is just hovering, but she's spotted on vision. Now we get a decent amount of damage onto Aatrox. Proc his nullifying orb. And we're in a pretty good spot. Now Akali just basically comes here to steal my wave instead. And this is not going to be the last time she does this in the game, which is just really annoying. It's like she basically ditches her wave to roam, which is fine if you're doing a calculated roam. But she just ditches her wave to roam. Her roam doesn't work out, and she just steals the wave of her own laner instead, which is just horrible overall, because it just means that your team as a whole is losing gold, because you have one laner who's having to share gold with another person, and then you have one wave where no one is actually taking it, it's just dying to tower. So that's just horrible overall. Yeah, not good play from the Akali whatsoever. So anyways, here now all of us have hit level 5. You've already seen the ult come out onto the Aatrox. It's now just to disengage, which is one of the uses of your ult, but not the ideal one, obviously, because that would basically mean that you don't have your ult to use aggressively, which is generally where you want to be using it. But, if you have to use it defensively to escape, you gotta do what you gotta do. So here again, just CSing. Again, it's not a very interesting laning phase. One thing you can do as Varus is to try to land poke. So generally this is best done when the enemy team is standing near their wave, where you can hit the wave and hit them at the same time. But sometimes if they choose to stand aside from the wave, which is what they should be doing, then you kind of have to make a choice between whether you want to hit them or hit the wave. Now this kind of really depends on how badly you need to push the wave in and if you need the wave clear. If you do, of course, go for the wave. If you don't, just go for them. And you can see there I land a little bit of poke onto the Vayne. Of course, regardless of which Varus build you're going for, a landing poke on the enemy is always going to be a good thing because this is going to soften them up, making them more vulnerable to a gank or from a all-in from yourself and your support. So here the dragon and the, I believe that's, I'm not even sure if that's a turret or the mimic. I don't even know how to tell which is which, but I think that's the turret has spawned. Aatrox gets caught in the pit, gets chain CC'd, I burst him down. Now, enemy team makes a mistake in rotating. Here, Viego finishes off one, I finish off the other, and it's basically going to be a free dragon for us. So here we're just going to push in the wave. Again, Akali's coming over to steal the wave, thumbs up to her. But she's going to go for the tower plates as well, apparently. We're just going to go back to get our health and mana, as well as completing our Essence Reaver. So here, since she's over there taking our wave, and no one is at mid, I do the most quote-unquote intelligent thing here by going to mid to not only defend this 1 HP tower, but also to ensure this wave doesn't just die to the tower and no one actually gets it. So here I'm actually just getting the wave. Ahri hits a charm on me and actually baits herself because I think I win against Ahri. Here you can see, boom, I hit the arrow on her with the Essence Reaver, and I don't even know if that was with the Essence Reaver actually, but with the W for sure, and she just goes down. So free kill for me as well, and now Karma is here to I guess help out, but I'm just really here to clear the wave. I'm gonna leave that last minion for my minion wave to handle, and I'm gonna quickly rotate back up the top, deal with the wave there as well. And if Vayne sticks around, she might get caught by me and Nami. She is actually still around and not at full health, so she might be in trouble if she doesn't play safe. Okay, so now here we're chipping away at the tower, getting a little bit of tower plates. Again, Vayne can't really defend here. Karma is now in to try to help defend. Q uses the Q, Empowered Q onto the minion wave. Here I'm just landing a couple of autos on them. We can see Ahri on the rotation here, so we actually have to back off. If she wasn't coming up here, I would have played a little bit more aggressively and tried to harass them even under the tower, because we do a really good amount of damage at this point with our first item completed. Karma as well as Vayne, not quite there yet. Now here actually I'm recalling almost in the middle of the lane to try to bait them into coming toward me, which is exactly what I do. Unfortunately my Nami was a little bit out of position here, but does come over real quick, and we finish off the Vayne and the Karma as well. Perfectly planned. However, unfortunately we have Aatrox and Ahri coming in. Thankfully, with the help of the phase rush once again, as well as the Ghost and Flash for that matter, we're able to get to safety. Now Aatrox going in deep under tower for the Nami. I unfortunately get charmed, and I'm in a little bit of trouble here against the enemy team. I'm pretty low. I'm gonna just try to back on the tower because my team is now here to cover, so we should be all good. We're gonna be able to complete our reset and start getting the components for the Youmuu's Ghost Blade. Now headed back to the lane, we're just going to quickly clear out the lane once again. Nothing, I mean honestly nothing too interesting happening so far in terms of the laning phase itself. Of course we had multiple skirmishes and fights, but aside from that, pretty standard. Now Vayne getting caught in a little bit of pickle. I'm trying to finish off this tower, but we start the fight a little bit too early in my opinion, so here we're just going to have to do the fight with the tower. I actually tank a tower shot I believe, but it's all good. Here my team is going super duper aggressive onto the Ahri. I don't really want this because I think that I was thinking Aatrox might rotate, but we actually see Aatrox on the other side of the map. So it's actually, I guess, fine to do that, but we are very unlikely to just kill Ahri when she's on the tower, so no real point in that. Now I'm going to go to mid where there is a wave, and I'm just going to quickly grab this wave. Now Viego gets into a scuffle with the Darius, so we're going to hit over to see if we can help. Darius knows we're rotating because he can see us on the wave, and he just blast plants himself back to safety. Now this puts us in prime position to straight up go for the enemy tower. Now Aatrox goes in pretty aggressively. I get the ult on him, and I'm just blasting him. I honestly thought I was gonna die here, but Nami's summoner heal comes up right on time, and she gives me the heal, and I'm able to actually survive. I grab the fruit here, back to a very healthy state. I'm ready to rejoin the fight. Unfortunately, the fight is kind of over, so I'm not just running for the hills. I accidentally stepped on one of these plants that Nami popped, but thankfully my phase rush proc, so I'm able to use that movement speed to run out of here. So I guess phase rush, you could say, is really not very obvious when it procs, like especially when you're looking at this replay. But in game, you can definitely feel that movement speed and the cooldown, which is why I think it's actually very useful of a rune if you know how to use it properly. And yeah, so here we're going to go for this wave, and we're gonna get the wave. The next dragon is up. You can see that most enemy team members are in that general region. Our Akali and our Viego are coming out of base, whereas Fiora is resetting and going to the other side of the map as Fiora is due to, I guess, split push. In the meanwhile, we're just gonna go for this this skull crab. Ensure we have the vision here. Start up the dragon a little bit, pulling the dragon out. And if there is a fight, we are ready with our ulti. Viego gets charmed. Darius coming in from the flank. I'm kiting away from the Darius. We secure the dragon. And honestly, I kite a little bit too far back because I go over the wall. Now I'm in trouble. I have to flash over the wall. I'm stuck on 1 HP. Aatrox has the movement speed from his ult, and I'm in a little bit of trouble. I have the movement speed from Youmuu's. However, he starts making the mistake of tanking the tower. I ult him, launch an arrow on him, and let the tower finish him off to go legendary. Now, you don't really want to chase a Varus and under tower when there's nothing else tanking the tower, because you can just get rooted under tower with his ulti, and you're pretty much going to die from the tower most likely, which is exactly what happened to the poor Aatrox here. He cuts another death for his efforts, and I get another kill, get more fed. I'm like at 10k gold at this point, pretty far ahead of everyone else on the enemy team, except the Aatrox, who is actually pretty fed himself. You can see our Fiora is also really fed from all that split pushing and all the tower taking, things like that. Despite the fact that she's 2 and 3, and started Death's Dance first item. Yeah. So here, we want to be really careful not to get caught in the mid wave, which is a mistake you guys see me make many times in the past, and that we're not gonna make that mistake this time. So we are gonna just reset and finish off our Serpent's Fang. Of course, in this game, Serpent's Fang very important because of the shields from Karma. Karma's shields are nothing to scoff at, so we definitely don't want to underestimate that. In this case, no one has really gone for gargoyles unless Aatrox goes for it, but I still think that Serpent's Fang is a really solid lethality item. Some people even go for it when there's no shielding, so I basically go for it when there's any kind of shielding on the enemy team that is significant. Things like Karma, Kaisa ulti, Set W, Shen ulti, all that kind of stuff. Even Yone W is shielding, so any kind of shielding that there is on the enemy team, shield bow, I'm going to be going for that anti-shield item. So here, I'm not quite sure what we're doing because I don't really expect the enemy team to be walking into this particular bush. I was actually thinking that there is a world where maybe we can start Baron if we see enough enemies on the map on the other side. But here we see Ahri and Karma, so instead I'm just going to reset, not waste any time. Grab the QSS, which is going to be useful if we get hit by an Ahri Charm or a Karma Root, something like that. Akali is getting collapsed on by the enemy team. I have the Youmuu's movement speed to try to get there quickly, but of course, Akali's not going to survive for that long, so she does go down. Fiora is still trying to push on the side lane, and me and Nami are trying to keep up the pressure in the mid lane to kind of create a little bit of pressure so that people don't respond to Fiora so much. Of course, we do have priority. We're going to actually grab this blue buff right here. Really useful for our mana problems, and also because our cooldowns are very important. Now here we see Aatrox on the wrong side of the map. And we know that some enemies are dealing with the mid wave, and we can see Ahri over there in the bot wave. So here we're actually thinking of starting Baron, but a fight ends up breaking out instead. So here, Darius goes unstoppable, doesn't actually get rooted, but still it gets the stacks. I'm gonna proc the phase rush. Phase rush allows me to actually chase people down, and I have the ghost active as well, chasing more people down. Huge arrow onto the Ahri, does about half her health here. And yeah, so some people might be a little bit out of vision here. You can see Ahri got hit again, so now she's at like 1 HP. If you look at the right hand corner of your screen, you can see she's at blinking HP. So now with Darius dead and enemies chunked out, now it's prime time to do Baron. Of course, if they come in through the choke point, you're going to eat some Varus arrows, which is going to chunk them out real good. And also probably eat the Nami wave. Actually, Nami doesn't have the wave, but We get the Baron pretty much unscathed, and we're gonna back. Someone's gonna grab the T-Hex, obviously not me because I'm 8-0-4. We don't want the fed Varus to be in the T-Hex. Honestly, since the patch started, I wrote the T-Hex like just once. Because ADC should never be the guy riding the T-Hex, but yeah. So here T-Hex barreling down mid, pretty good movement speed on the T-Hex here. It eviscerates that minion wave. Cannot be, touched by CC. And now we're just running straight at the enemy team with the T-Hex. We can see Aatrox on the right flank, so we're really cautious of that. He's, I think, on the blue buff right now, but he can come out from the right flank at any time. Fiora looks like she might be dealing with him, not quite. So here we're, again, very cautious of Aatrox. He actually rejoins his team here, so it's all good. TX ulting the tower here. I'm going to deal the last hit, finish off that tower. Now we're going to rotate over to Fiora to help her out. Darius a little bit out of position here. I'm not sure what Fiora's trying to do there. Yeah, I don't know what the riposte was for. I don't think Darius was trying to grab her or anything. So here, the Aatrox tries to go in, eats my ult, and I get a huge arrow through multiple people. Ahri ults away. Can't land the arrow, unfortunately. Aatrox tries to go back in. I kill Karma, I kill Aatrox. Now I'm just auto-attacking the Ahri. Unfortunately, again, she still has ult charges. She's ulting away. At this point, I'm just thinking of finishing the game, so I'm just going to focus on Nexus, and there we have it. So I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.